Hey everyone, and in this video we are going to see how to write mass assignment test using Acto's test editor. Mass assignment is one of the OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities, and it is part of the broken object property level authorization. This vulnerability allows attackers to manipulate or modify an object attribute without proper validation. So it often occurs in applications or APIs where developers don't adequately restrict which attributes can be modified via user input, leading to potential unauthorized access or privilege escalation. So in order to find APIs that are vulnerable to mass assignment, we have to go through 3 steps. First, we want to select APIs that either contain email or login keyword in the request payload and has role parameter in the response payload. The next step would be to add role admin in the request payload, and if it is reflected in the response, it indicates that the API is vulnerable. Okay, let's jump into the test editor. Firstly, we are going to write about the test information. So we are going to define the ID, that is a unique identifier for each test, and in the info section, we will provide name, details, and impact of the vulnerability. Provide the same in the category section, a short name, display name. And the severity of this is high because obviously a user is getting higher privileges because of this. Provide some tags related to this vulnerability, like this is business logic and it is part of the OWASP top 10. And in the reference, I'm going to give the link of this cheat sheet. Now, the second part is providing filters. So this section describes the conditions that act as selection criteria for filtering APIs. Response code: filter API calls with response codes greater than or equal to 200 and less than 300. Method operator selects APIs that use either put, batch, or post methods. The URL operator filters API based on the URL. It selects API calls where the URL contains the word user. Request payload selects API calls where the request payload contains email or login keys. The response payload selects API calls where the response payload contains the role key. The third part defines the test execution. The type specifies the type of the test execution. In this case, it's a single test. And the request defines the actions to be taken during the test. In this case, it's going to add role admin parameter in the request body. And the last part is validation. Response code operator here validates the response code of the API calls. It checks if the response code is greater than or equal to 200 and less than 300, indicating success. And the response payload checks if the response contains the admin key. Everything looks fine. We can save this test. Select the API collection and the API that you want to test for. Then click on Run Test. It says that the vulnerability is found, and in the issue details we can see the description. Moving to original, we can see the original request and responses. And since this request payload contained the email parameter, it was selected for this test. Moving on to attempt, we can see the vulnerable request and responses. Here, the role admin was added in the request payload, and we can see it got reflected in the response as well. So this is how you can test your APIs using your own custom template. Now, if you want to automate your own custom test to run daily, just go to your API inventory, click on Run Test, and select your custom test, and then check the Run Daily box. Okay guys, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I'll see you in the next one.